okay. Shifting sessions. I've got it on. So my name's Hannah. I should point out I'm an information librarian, so I'm completely non-technical. My colleague Roger is here, who is our learning systems manager, and he is the technical guy. So if you have any technical questions, please direct them towards Roger. And basically, what I was going to talk to you about today is our reading this pilot we've been running using RefWorks software within Moodle. So if I just go through, these are just some of the things that I'll cover. So what I wanted to talk to you about was the sort of project we've been doing, the student and the staff experience, which has been quite different, how we've piloted it, and then the future, what we might do. So this is our sort of project overview here. Basically, back in April last year, we created a reading list group because we currently provide reading lists to students using LearnBuild, which doesn't meet all of our needs. It's a difficult system to use. The lecturers don't use it. Not all the librarians use it because it's so complex. So we wanted to see if we could find anything that was better. And we had a look at several options, and we came across TELSTAR from the OU, which some of you may already be aware of. And we thought we would have a good look at this because not only does it use RefWorks and Moodle, we have both of those, and it also links up with an SFX eJournal resolver, which we had as well. So it seemed to be the kind of the system we want to have a look at. So we got some funding to try this out. Now, how many of you are unfamiliar with RefWorks? Most? Fine, okay. I'm coming obviously from the library background. So what RefWorks is, it's basically bibliographic software. It's very good for students. The idea is they have their own area in online in RefWorks. They can create their own references in that. The beauty of RefWorks is that they can go into library e-resource databases, the library catalogue. They can pull back referencing details, and then they can create a bibliography in a specific style within RefWorks. So RefWorks manages everything for them because students have terrible problems referencing, and they can use a system like this to do it. Other ones you might have heard of, Manzulay, Zotero, EndNote. It's exactly the same thing. Is that ringing bells? Yeah, so that's what we're talking about with RefWorks. I can't praise them enough. It's an excellent system. Their customer service is really good. I think it's a fantastic system. The only problem with it is highly, highly comprehensive. And I think because it's so comprehensive, sometimes that puts students off. So they go into RefWorks and they're like, what are all these fields? What's all this data? And it confuses them. So what we liked about the TELSTAR project was it's a simplified version of RefWorks put directly into Moodle. And we thought this might encourage students to start using referencing software and then move on in future years in their degree to maybe to a full system. So we loaded the code onto our live system, we tweaked it, we created our own styles, we did some customizations, and then we tried piloting it with students in the first semester and also the second semester. And the two things to point out at this point, I'll take you through the system, but it does get a little bit confusing. There are two elements to the system. There is the reading list part. We generate reading lists via RefWorks RSS feeds. And then there is the myReferences personalized area, which is the cut-down version of RefWorks. So there's two elements to the live system. Okay, so that's where we are. So if we have a look at the student experience, what does the student see with this? So our current system, this is our Moodle, which we call My Course. The link at the top there to reading list, that's the current system that we have. If a student clicks on that, they then see this list generated from LearnBuild. Nothing wrong with it. It does what it says on the tin. It's a reading list, but you can see it's not particularly inspiring. It's a bit grey and boring, and it takes them out of the VLE rather than within it. So we thought we'd try something a bit different. So if we have a look at our new reading list link, these are the two down the bottom here, reading list and reading list references. So if a student clicks on that reading list link there, what they now see is this page, so completely still within the VLE. You can see this is an APA referencing style because this is a psychology unit, and you can choose what style you want the resources to display in. The idea of that is then the students are seeing the references, how they need to reference them on the reading list, so that's quite important. You can add headings, you can add notes, you can do all sorts of things there. And what's clever about it, the student would click on a textbook link, for example, the top one, and it automatically links them to our library catalogue, tells them where it is, gives them the number, and gives them the floor. Okay, so that's for books. Journal articles is even better. They click on a journal article link, and if we have the full text for one of our databases, it automatically puts up our SFX link resolver screen, and the students can click on the links to view the full text of the article. If we don't have full text available, then you can put a different link in. We have the CLA digitization license, which some of you are aware of, so we can put a digitized copy up there, or you could link to a website, whatever you wanted to do there, so it can be flexible in that way. So that's what the student would see from the reading list. The second part is this reading list export link for the students. Now, if I go in and show you this, we're back in our unit again. This is the bottom option, reading list references. And what the student does is as soon as they click on that reading list references option, it takes them into this personalised myReferences area, so the cut-down version of RefWorks, and you can see a folder on the left has appeared that says psychobiology. Now that folder can have any name that the person setting up chooses, that just happens to be the name of that unit. And the student then goes into that psychobiology unit, and all of those reading list references are now automatically in their area for them. So they've just clicked on the link and they've got all those references in there. And once they're in here, they can do what they like with them. They've got all these options here. They can edit the reference. If they want to make changes, want to make notes, they can do. And they've still got the linking options. So the little link option there, it will still link off to the catalogue for them or the journal article. So once they've imported their references in, they can start clicking on the links from within here. They don't have to go back to the reading list if they don't wish to. Okay. So that's getting their references. Now this is the bit that the students really like, generating the bibliography and using those references. So we're back in myReferences here, and there's an option to create bibliography. They would click on that, and then it gives them the options to choose which style. We operate 2 styles at Solent. This is customized. So they choose the style that they want, choose the folder of references that they want, or they can pick individual ones, whatever they like. And then, magic, it generates the bibliography for them, the in-text citations at the top, the references at the bottom. At this point, a lot of students jump up and down and say, that's terrific, so vaguely interested in referencing at this point. So that's what they like. So that's the sort of student side. If we talk about the staff side of how this is working, so I'll talk about the creation. It's quite straightforward. What we can do is when you're in as a staff member in myReferences, you have option to create a shared account. Now the good thing about this is that then it's a shared account, so there could be 2 or 3 librarians, 2 or 3 lecturers. You could add anyone into it, and all of those people in that shared account can then edit the reading list and the reading list references, so it can be more involved for everybody. So you create your shared account, and then you start creating your folders. And you create your folders how you want the reading list to display. Each one's going to be an individual RSS feed. So you might want a journal articles folder, you might want a week 1 folder, depending how you want to display your final reading list. So I've just done an example here for a week 1 folder. So once that's created, it appears, you then have to get your references in. 2 ways that staff members can do this. The first way I really like is create reference on the side there. Sorry, my screen's slightly wonky, I just realised. Anyway, in the create reference field, we've customised the top there, so you can see you've got all those different ones they can use, book, journal, article, whatever. All of those have customised fields so the students would know what to fill in. But for staff, we have these get data options, which are really handy. I think this is magic. Basically, if you enter an ISBN, it automatically pulls all the details back from our library catalogue and puts the link in for you. So no typing, that's done straight away. DOI is even better. Pop in a DOI for a journal article, it goes off to Crossref, pulls back all the details for you. No manual entry at all. I'm hoping lecturers will actually think that's good and want to use that, because it is very straightforward. And the other thing you've got, importantly, is this override link. Where the links are automated, it might be that you need to change that at some point. So it might be you haven't got a journal article, you want to link to a different site, something's broken. That's where you can change the automatic linking feature in there. And then you can also add notes. So whatever note you want to stay on the reading list, read this chapter, do this, whatever you want to do there. So that's one way of doing it. The second way is an import references feature. Now, if, say, a lecturer had a whole load of references already in their RefWorks, they were using RefWorks quite a lot, they can go into RefWorks, they can export an XML file from RefWorks, and then they can just import it there, upload the file, and the references will appear. So 2 ways. So hopefully that should make that quite straightforward for our staff as well. So once we've got our references in and we've done all of that, we then publish the folder and we get a link to our RSS feed, copy the RSS feed, and then we just have to link to this to generate the reading list. So we go back into our unit. We've got this add a reading list module, there, the beta one, and then this is where the staff member chooses what they want it to be called. Again, chooses the style. That's the key thing. The display of the references is controlled by the style. That's customized there for us. Then you can do all sorts of things here. You can add text, you can add headings, you can add, you know, Seminar 1, read this, whatever you want to do, however you want to break your list up. It's quite flexible. And then add your RSS feed and pop that in. And you should end up with this. This is what the staff member would see. So I've broken this into headings. You can see I've got different notes on. The only thing to bear in mind with this is, can you see all those references in that top RSS field? They can't be moved around. So the RSS feed gets moved in blocks. That's why you need to set your folders up how you want the list to display. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, so that's what the staff see. And then finally, the final part is, I haven't got screenshots for this, it's straightforward, is just this, the referencing export link we saw. Basically, the staff member just exports all those reading list references, adds it into the unit, and the students click on it, and then it pops the XML file of references into their myReferences. So that's where we've got to. That's how we piloted it. What's interesting, though, is now the student feedback and how it's being used. Basically, with the first-year students, I did a workshop for them and introduced them to this system, and I asked them to write down just their initial thoughts on a blank piece of paper to see how we were getting on. And you can see, in some ways, it's quite good. You've got nice words like useful, easy, good, easier, helpful coming up, so that's fine. Also appearing are some of the problems. Confusing, time-consuming. Also, periodical appears. Students have no idea what a periodical is. I've realised we're going to have to rename fields. We need to make it very clear. Article title, journal title, that kind of thing. And folder comes up on this as well. They had terrible trouble with the folders, with working out where to put things, how to put things into different folders, setting all of that up. So that's something that we would need to think about as well. We also did a questionnaire with our Level 2 students. They just had a demo in a lecture about the new system. They didn't have a workshop, and they haven't used it very much. And one of the comments on the questionnaire was that they felt they needed a hands-on session to get to grips with it. Now, that says to me, unfortunately, it may not be quite as intuitive as we'd hoped. The idea is they go in and use it. But if all students are requiring a hands-on session to get to grips with it, one of my colleagues did point out, well, surely they could just have a hands-on session on RefWorks. Why have, you know, the separate system if they need training anyway? So that's something to consider. These are just some of the comments that we have had back. You can just see those there. It has generally been positive, but what is very interesting is there's quite a bit of interest in referencing and reading lists sort of in the sector and around, but the students themselves are not interested. I have struggled to get feedback from them. I really have. I've tried to bribe them with £10 ASDA vouchers. I've done all sorts of things. I've had some stats through this week. They're really not particularly using it. They used it in the workshop. They said, fantastic, this is great, it's going to save me loads of time. But then actually them going off on their own and using it for their assignments, it really does not seem to be happening. So that's quite an interesting development that we then need to consider how far we take this forward. Because obviously referencing isn't particularly exciting for students, but they do have to do it. But if this system is not actually helping them with that or making it easier, then that's something for the future. So things from our project that we need to think about. It generally has been very positive, but if anyone is considering doing this, I would certainly say it is highly time-consuming, the customizations. Creating your own referencing styles. I spent hours and hours on this. I spent hours with Roger looking at the code. We've got a problem with the move to Moodle 2. Obviously, Jason at the OU has launched some new code for this module, but we've got all our customizations. We're going to have to reapply them or start again or decide what we're going to do with that. RefWorks itself is upgrading to RefWorks 2, which hopefully won't cause a problem, but obviously that's something else to consider. The other thing is the resource page module where we load that RSS feed is being discontinued by the OU because they're not currently using it. So we then need to look at, if we want to carry on, how we're going to get those RefWorks RSS feeds to display. Can we create our own filter? Can we get them to display within the body of the unit? You know, what are we going to do about that? So that's really where we've got to. We need to review again over the summer. We need to work out if it's worth doing it if the students aren't interested, or if we do persevere because students are never interested in referencing anyway. And then we need to decide whether we continue to pilot it or release it more widely to the lecturers. So basically, yeah, just time for questions and discussion. There's our project website link there that's got some screencasts and examples and things on. You've got contact details. Got some handouts which has got the project website on for you. There's also free pens because there were some left and we had them for the students, so everyone loves a pen, so grab yourself a pen. I don't know where the pens have gone. Have we got the pens? Yeah, have a pen, but yeah, do, please ask away. Yeah. Yeah. No. You'd need to have a shared account for each course. So each course would, you'd have a shared account for each unit, and then the folders within it, rather than having, you can't have subfolders. No, and that's a problem. RefWorks doesn't allow subfolders itself. That's where that comes from. Yeah. No, because they don't feel the need for it, because they would suggest I've asked them about it, you would redo your naming conventions. So yeah, no subfolders at all. Sorry. Absolutely, yes. 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 We don't have a policy as such. We just ask, all the librarians email every year repeatedly asking for lists. We have some lecturers who are fantastic. The psychology team, for example, at my university, because they use so many journal articles, always give us their lists, and then we can set up these things for them. We try and promote it as, if you give us your list, we will do the work for you, either with the old system or the new one. We'll put the article links in for you. We'll do it all to try and encourage them to give us their lists. But it is an ongoing battle. We just have to keep emailing and asking for them. We don't have any other. We don't have a magic solution at all to that, I'm afraid. Yes. No, the difference is that the thing you're talking about with Word, it's very useful, but the thing that makes RefWorks stand above Word is that if students are searching in a library database, they can pull the referencing details across. Yeah. The thing that Roger's talking about is Write and Cite for RefWorks, which is a plugin. You download it to Word. As you're typing your dissertation, your assignment, it's a little cut-down version of RefWorks that puts placeholders in, and then you format your dissertation, and it automatically puts in text and the bibliography in. So that's brilliant. That's Write and Cite as part of RefWorks, yes. This is all based entirely on TELSTAR, but TELSTAR doesn't have the Write and Cite functionality, or the... Right. Where are your current online? What are they in RefWorks? Your bibliographies? Yeah, you just need to download right site from the RefWorks site, and you'll be away. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's RefWorks functionality. Yeah, it's excellent. Okay. Anything else?